The Cardinals have 11 picks in this year's draft, 6 in the top 100, starting with the 4th overall. Lots of decisions to be made by General Manager Monti Ossenfort. I'm Dani, Sureck, coming to you from Indianapolis at the NFL Scouting Combine. A little bit of role reversal. This is the room you are conducting interviews with draft prospects, and now it's your turn to be interviewed, no pressure.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Yeah, we got a little downtime in between interviews. We had a good session this morning and again tonight, and then continue through tomorrow. But yeah, this is a good time for us to get a chance to sit down with the prospects and really get to know them as people. And you know, it's a process. We get 18 minutes, the horn rings, guy walks out, new guy comes in, and we get 45 of those. And so those are invaluable to us in our process. And you know, really the first time for a lot of these guys that we actually get to meet them.
Year 2 at the helm for you. What's one lesson learned from last year's combine that's adjusted the way you are evaluating this time around?
Yeah, and I think really the biggest you know, improvement that we've been able to make is everybody has been through one of these together. So we all know kind of the direction that we're going, just the processes and what we're trying to get out of these meetings, what we're trying to get from the coaching staff out of the combine. Our scouts are now through their second combine, and really it's helped the continuity, it's helped the flow, it's helped you know, last year at this time. There was some of our staff that I hadn't even met yet, you know, on the coaching staff. They were just getting here. And so, you know, that's really helped, and everybody knows what's expected of them. And, you know, I think we're really having a productive week here. We're in the middle of it right now. The on-field workouts will start tomorrow. But where we've been at so far, getting some interviews and having some meetings with different people around the league, it's been a beneficial week for all of us.
You took to the podium this week to talk to the media. In regards to free agency, you said the Cardinals will strike and be aggressive if the right opportunity presents itself. Aggressive in terms of what?
Yeah, and I think really what that starts with is being prepared, right? So we have to be prepared with the evaluation of players, and we have to look into and project them into our systems. They've been playing in different systems, maybe being asked to do different things for other teams, and so we have to see if they translate to what we specifically would ask them to do. And then the other tricky part of free agency is really the market valuation of the players, and there's a financial component of adding any free agents, and so we have to fit that. We have a salary cap in our league, and we have to figure out how all that fits together when you're building the right 53-man roster. And so, you know, we have to be knowledgeable about the players that are available, and we have to be knowledgeable about the market. And really, we have to see if those two things come together to be a fit and is the right person to add to our roster.
To find that right person, there has to be a balance of how you're approaching this entire offseason, of where you find those needs to add to this team coming off a 4-win season. You have a lot of draft capital. You're top 10 in terms of available cap space. Philosophically, how do you determine which needs to address through the draft or free agency?
Yeah, and I think the nature of the NFL is that there's turnover every year, and the team that we had last year is going to be the team that we have next year. And so, you know, at various points throughout the season, there's ways to add to our roster. There's ways to add, and really two of the big ones are coming up in the next couple months here, starting with free agency. And so, you know, I think what we do is we assess where we're at, and we assess where we are not only short term but also long term. And, you know, I think the one thing about free agency is I don't think it's a cure-all. You know, I don't think a team that's the great place to be roster building and forming the nucleus of a team. I think that has to happen through the draft. And so free agency is a great tool. It's a supplemental tool, and one that we're going to investigate every single aspect that we can to build our team. And then really, once we get to the draft, then that's where we're going to continue to find the right guys for the team, and that's where the core of our team is going to be built.
Cardinals defense was bottom tier statistically across the league last year. When it comes to improving the defense, which level, if you address it early on, could have the greatest trickle-down effect?
Yeah, and I think it's all levels. You know, I think you know, like you said, we need to get better on defense, just like we have to improve on offense as well. We got to improve the entire and all three phases, special teams as well. But you know, specifically on defense, like and I think you say the same thing on offense, is the game starts on the line of scrimmage, and so you know, we need good players at all three levels of the defense. So we're going to look at all those areas, and we're going to find the right fits for us where it makes sense just financially and also the fit schematically. But whether it's a draft or free agency, we're going to look at all three levels of the defense and try to improve our team.
You addressed the offensive line early in the draft last year. Left tackle DJ Humphries tore his ACL late in the season. Your top wide receiver, Hollywood Brown, is a pending free agent. How do you prioritize your needs offensively?
Yeah, and I think it's really the same conversation. As we have needs across the board. Listen, we were a 4-win team last year, and so there's a lot of room for improvement. And so, I think with the NFL, there's never a situation where you can look at one position and say, hey, we're good at this position, we don't need to look there. I mean, the nature of the game is that there's going to be injuries, there's going to be turnover, and so not only building the quality of players on the team, but we also have to build the quantity of depth on the roster as well. It's a long season, attrition happens along the roster, and so we got to be prepared to withstand those things. So, whether we're talking about adding quality players is certainly at the top of our list, and we're also talking about adding depth to our current roster construction.
NFL draft analysts are saying this is a deep offensive tackle and wide receivers draft class. After looking at the trenches early on for the Cardinals draft last year, what do you need to see to have a shift in the mindset towards drafting a skilled player early on?
Yeah, and I think the way we attack the draft or free agency is we're evaluating the totality of every position. I don't think we ever go into, much like last year, we never go in and saying, hey, we're going to target this position this high in the draft, and then this next pick we're going to target this position. Really, we're evaluating the draft and we're valuing players across the board. And then once it's our turn to pick, we assess the situation. We see, who is up there on the board, who we deem worthy of a pick at that certain spot. I'm not going to say that position doesn't matter, but really in the end, we're looking for the most value, regardless of what that position is.
You said earlier in the week the Cardinals are in a good position knowing who you have at quarterback and what you have with a healthy Kyler Murray after the 8 games he played in last year, the power with his arm, with his legs. He had to spend a lot of the last offseason and the start of last season on the sideline, rehabbing that ACL, as you were making a lot of decisions based off film at this time last year. Once you got a chance to see what a healthy Kyler Murray looks like on the field, how much more confidence did that give you of how much he can lead this organization to success?
Absolutely. I think last year at this time there was a lot of unknown. There was a lot of unknown with Kyler and just where he was and with the injury, the timing of when it happened. Obviously, we knew we weren't going to be with him at the start of the season. We didn't know how long that was going to drag out. And so, being in a much different spot this year, Kyler attacked his rehab going into last year, and he's continuing to progress and do things this offseason that's going to put him in a great position. So, I think it's taken out a lot of the unknown that we had last year at this time, and to know that we have him and he's going to be, take off where he left off this last 2023 season, and he's only going to get better from here. It's an exciting place to be for us as an organization.
You had a busy first draft last year. You were making a lot of phone calls, a lot of trades. Head coach Jonathan Gannon was hyped in that war room. What Monti magic can Cardinals fans expect this year?
Oh, I mean, it's, I would say the thing about the draft last year was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, and really it was a culmination of a lot of people putting a lot of effort into that. Whether it was our scouting department, Dave Sears, Rob Kissel, all the way our scouts and all the work that they put into, our coaching staff and our trainers and all the support staff around the building. It really is a team effort. This is a huge endeavor. The draft is over a year-long preparation just to get to that one day. So, a lot goes into that preparation. Really conjuring up scenarios that might come up, that might not come up, and really being ready for anything that comes our way, because really nobody knows anything that's going to happen on draft night until it actually happens. So last year we were fortunate, had some opportunities to move around a little bit. We dropped back, we moved up, we stayed put, on day 3. So, I think every draft is different, and I think this year's not going to be it's not going to be any different than past years. We're going to be ready for any scenario that comes up, and I know that our staff is going to be ready for everything, and we're excited to go into this year's draft.
Lots of opportunities. All the draft prep is really getting underway here from the Combine in Indy at the NFL Scouting Combine. For General Manager Monti Ossenfort, I'm Dani. Stay locked in on azcardinals.com for more coverage from the Combine.